What up, YouTube? I'm back. So what a good episode of Jujutsu Kaisen. It was finally the official beginning of this new arc, because in last week's episode it was more of a setup episode for, the arc, and then this week we finally saw some combat, some fighting, some battles, and we got to see something that we've been waiting for ever since we knew that Itadori would be in that event, and that the thing that we've been waiting for was Itadori versus Toudou, because these two are the most dominant forces physically in the show right now, and I'm saying physically because the other guys are using Jujutsu techniques and everything like that, but Toudou and Itadori really uses their body, they're physically different, they're freak of natures, so that's one of the things that I've been waiting the most. But that's what we got to see in this week's episode, Itadori versus Toudou for the most part, and it was pretty cool. It wasn't the most amazing fight of the series so far, but just to see these two go at it, especially at the beginning where Itadori was just getting beat up by Toudou at one point, I didn't really know why Itadori was getting beat up like that, because I didn't feel like Itadori was going all out, or maybe it's because Itadori was surprised by how fast and strong Toudou was, maybe that's why he was just getting beat the hell up, by the tree, because he was bleeding, his head was bleeding, there was blood all over the floor and the tree, so it was kind of gruesome. But at some point I think Itadori adapted to Toudou, and that's when the battle really started. Obviously, something that we need to talk about is Itadori and Toudou's bond, because we all know that one of the questions that Toudou likes to ask is what type of woman you like. He said that with Fushiguro, and Fushiguro answered something that he didn't like, so he started to just beat him up. Then in this week's episode we saw how he asked the same question to Itadori, and Itadori responded with the same answer that Toudou wanted, a woman with a big ass, and he said preferably like Jennifer Lawrence. And I'm not sure that Jennifer Lawrence actually has a big ass, because I haven't checked, but I don't think she has, so that's kind of weird. But obviously Toudou was happy that someone like Itadori had the same type of woman as him, so they became best friends, quote unquote. And we all saw that montage, of them being at school, being best friend and talking to each other. It was kind of funny, but I really thought that they would bond, because they're a lot like each other. They're physically freak of natures. They like big ass women, so yeah, it wasn't surprising when I heard Itadori's answer, and they're a lot like each other, so I'm guessing that they'll develop maybe a bigger bond throughout the series, and I can't wait to see that. So now let's get to the nitty gritty, because we all know that this arc is about an exchange event between these two schools to basically help the student get some recommendation to become Jujutsu sorcerers. That's something that we learned in this week's episode that we're going to talk a lot more in details later in the review. But we all know that, we saw how, Itadori's team decided to let him fight Toudou to buy some time, because the goal of that group battle is to exercise the curses, so that's what they tried to do. But because of what the director of the Kyoto school said to his students to basically kill Itadori during the event, that didn't really happen till maybe the end of the episode, so we all saw how the Kyoto students came together to kill Itadori. We all saw them try to attack Itadori, and Itadori was holding his own, he was dodging every attacks and everything, so that was pretty cool to see. I thought that we would see a little bit more of them trying to kill him, but because of Toudou they stopped, because obviously they don't want to go up against him. He's probably the strongest guy in this event right now, so they wouldn't want to go up against him. But that's the only reason why they didn't continue to try killing Itadori. So I thought it was pretty insane that they actually tried to kill Itadori. I'm not sure that they would have been ready to do it because of how skilled Itadori is physically and how better he's got with, you know, his curse energy. But I thought it was pretty interesting that they all went in, you know, basically trying to kill him. And we also saw something that I thought was pretty interesting about Toudou, that maybe is his curse power. You know, we saw him switch Itadori with one of his comrades. You know, it reminded me of the switch that Sasuke uses with his Rinnegan, you know, in the Naruto series. And it seems like maybe we saw for the first time Toudou's curse techniques. You know, I'm not really sure if it was that or maybe it was something else, but it seems like for the first time we got a glimpse of what Toudou's curse techniques is. I also want to say that I really like this character right there. I think her name is Miwu or something like that. You know, she's a lot different than the other students in her school. You know, she's a lot more like the people in Itadori school, you know, so that's pretty cool. I've liked her since the first time that we saw her in an episode when she was guarding, you know, her director, and then also in the opening. I just liked her design, you know, and it seems like she's actually a good person. She has two little brothers. She wants to become a Jujutsu sorcerer because she's poor, you know, she needs money, and she needs money to support her two little brothers, you know, so I thought that was pretty cool to learn about that. And you know, that's how we learned about the recommendation thing, you know, to become a Jujutsu sorcerer or to upgrade the grade that they're in, you know. So something that she says is that she can't be recommended by someone of her school, her teacher or something. She has to be recommended by another teacher from another school or something like that, you know. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So Gojo Sensei couldn't recommend Itadori because it's his teacher, you know, so that's why they use this kind of event to, you know, show their worth, you know. So I thought all of that information was pretty cool. Another small thing that I want to talk about before, you know, I end this video is this student from the Kyoto school that is on a broom. It's kind of weird to me to see her just fly on a broom, you know. It's so different than any other characters that we've seen so far in this series. It reminds me a lot of, you know, things like Black Clover or even Harry Potter, you know. It's so different. It's weird to see her just flying on a broom like that, you know. I'm guessing that they're scouts and that's how they were able to find Itadori, you know, and everything like that. So yeah, it's just kind of weird to me to see her fly like that. But anyway, man, I just can't wait to see what's gonna happen next in this arc. We saw some battles, you know, in this week's episode, like Itadori versus Toudou. We saw a little bit of Itadori versus everyone from the Kyoto school, and then we saw a little bit of a fight between Fushiguro and that guy from one of the three clans or something like that. And then yeah, it's gonna be amazing, man. I just can't wait. Hopefully we'll see Maki versus Mai, you know, the twin sisters fighting against each other. It's gonna be fun, man. There's gonna be a lot of battles, and I can't wait because they did a good job in this week's episode for the Toudou versus Itadori battle. It reminded me a little bit of, you know, some Naruto fight because of the taijutsu that they were using. I know that it's not called taijutsu and Jujutsu Kaisen, but it reminded me a lot of some of the fights that we've seen in the Naruto series, you know. So yeah, man, it was a really good episode. Can't wait for what's coming next. I haven't done other reviews for other animes this week because I just needed a break, but I'm gonna be back for all of them next week. I'm gonna do the One Piece, Attack on Titan, and Boruto, Naruto New Generation this weekend, and then I'm back with Black Clover, Dr. Stone, and The Promised Neverland next week. So stay tuned for all of that. I do like I said, all these reviews. Just can't wait, man. It's a big year for anime, especially because of what happened last year with the pandemic. You know, even though we're still in a pandemic, there's a lot of animes coming out. But yeah, man, let me know what you thought about this week's episode in the comments down below. Let me know what you think is gonna happen next. Follow me at Anime Specialist on Twitter and Instagram, and like, comment, subscribe. It would help my channel a lot, man. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Anime Specialist out. Peace.